Okay, hello. Welcome to Papa Sean's podcast. I am here with Joey Callahan, a current Isle of Fitness dad that is finishing up his first 12-week launch program with me. He's enjoyed I hope, the experience so far. We're going in for another 12 weeks next week, and excited to have a sit down today with Joey. Uh, Talk about a bit about where he was, his life, what prompted him to make changes, and going through that. So for you as a dad that is maybe carrying 40 pounds plus, that is exploring options and changes, I want you to see this conversation, me as a regular kind of guy versus an Instagram bro with 2% body fat. I've done this work as a father of two at the time, father of three now, and working, supporting Joey's amazing changes. How he was feeling, where he was at, was fantastic. And you get a bit of a sense about how I approach this work, the type of amazing partners and dads that I support, and welcome you to reach out and seeing the hopefully avalanche of evidence that a common sense and consistent approach to health, fitness, weight loss works. So, welcome, Joey. This is
Hey,
Mr.
thank
Joey,
you.
Mr. Joey Callahan.
Hey.
He is a professional comedian from Philadelphia.
Mhm.
You can check him out at joeycallahan.com, or if you're on YouTube at Joey Callahan Comedy. Joey, thanks so much for being
Oh,
here today,
thank
mate.
you. You know how to plug. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Absolutely,
Morning.
absolutely, mate. It has been a pleasure
Likewise.
getting to know you, supporting your work, our partnership over the last kind of
Been a lot of fun.
12 weeks. I'm glad I'm good.
Yeah.
Joey, would love to know, like, you are definitely someone that stood out before we officially worked together, kind of things that were going on in your life, where you're at. Would love you to share, just a bit about yourself, what home life, work life was looking like, and then just kind of how you were feeling, when it came to this area with your health, your fitness, your weight, your well-being.
Yeah. It just seems like I was at a point where I was always thin and athletic to some degree, but I also started my 40s, starting gaining weight, and it was slow. It's like how to boil a frog. It just slowly happened, and I know I noticed it because people were telling me, but then I was in denial. And it got to the point where before you and I started working together, I was 275. I did this thing called Dry Bar Comedy, which is a special, and it's another plug. But no, but if you go to go to YouTube and Dry Bar Comedy, I wore black because I look so fat, and I mean, of Irish descent. I have a giant head to begin with, so. But I
Can
just
relate.
look huge, like, and I hated having my picture taken. I just hated it, and I hate it being filmed. And when you do what I do for a living, it's kind of a prerequisite.
What was it, Joey? What was that like? You're a performer, you're a paid performer, and you are being recorded, frequently. Like, can you tell me, like, what was that? Was that something that you've actually avoided? You hear actors, they're like, I don't like looking at myself on screen.
Oh
What
no,
was like?
yeah.
What was that like for you?
Well, it was twofold. One, as I've gotten older, I've become more and more like look like my father. Like a man gets to an age where they don't see themselves. They go, "Oh my gosh, I'm my dad." And secondly, when I look in a mirror, and then when you look at someone to take a picture of you, that's two different views. Like I'm not as fat in the mirror as I look in this picture. Like, what the hell happened? I'm huge.
You know, uh, you know, what you were saying there, like, kind of in denial,
Yeah.
and that frog in the boiling water. And I was thinking about this yesterday, and it creeps on so slowly. For myself, I put on 40 pounds in 30 months. That is 80 pounds in 5 years. Like, that's the pace I was on. But on the ground monthly, that was an average of 1.3 pounds a month that I worked out. So again, like that,
You
frog
had
in the boiling
fun.
water,
Come on, you had fun.
it,
That was fun to get there a little.
but yeah, it was until the point I was just
Then it
like, bit
wasn't.
bit by bit. And then you're like, I can't look at myself in the mirror. The clothes, like I say this frequently, the clothes factories in China are making the clothes smaller. The
Mm-hmm.
scale is broken. There can't be that many calories in that. And then, one of my low points was, and I would love to hear, what this felt like or looked like for you. One of my low points was, ironically, 2 days after I'd started taking action was, one of my friends saying that I looked like Kim Jong Il's younger brother. And I was like, while that is depressing, he kind of has a point. That point where you see the photos and you're talking about yourself on film. Was there any moment like that stood out to you where you're like, oh, Jesus Christ, this is bad?
Yeah, well, I mean, first of all, somebody told me I look like a fat Matt Damon. I'm like, hey, no one. I am sure Matt Damon is not being described as a skinny Joey Callahan. Now, in all fairness. And then my wife and daughters tell me now that when I was getting bigger that I look like Alec Baldwin, which again, don't see it. And I said to my wife, I go, well, why do I look like Alec Baldwin? She goes, I don't know. You both have that big Irish head and you're like big. And I went, I'm big. And then I'm like, I'm not big. And then things like that, like people making fat jokes at my expense, which I don't, hey, I don't tolerate that.
And it's hard, man. It's hard. And they're not talking about Alec Baldwin of Glenn Ross. It's
Or
like
the Hunt for Red October. They're talking 30
yeah,
Rock.
yeah, 30 Rock.
Baldwin.
But it's again, one of those moments where you're like, there's a lot of tangent we can go down there, but when people are making those comments and it stings and you're like, you kind of can people, and I know you can kind of laugh it off and, maybe, but underneath, like those are those little stings that, if you can use them to take action and do something great, but, after that, they just like, they add up and it doesn't feel good because it's compounding a situation where you feel like shit. And it just reinforces, I don't look good. I don't feel good. This is not nice. But thankfully, Joey, you were exploring changes. And, can I ask you, what caught your eye about me, about what I was doing?
I wish I could tell you, I will. I mean, I agree with it. But at the core of it, when I first saw your videos on Instagram, he's from one of the 6 counties. I can tell just by the accent. And my family, my mother was an O'Connor, my grandmother was a Gallagher. If you hear an Irish accent, you tend to like, it could be like an Irish guy killed everybody. My mother would be like, well, we should really get his side of the story because it's not fair. There's two sides. He's from Ireland. It couldn't probably a good reason, right? Yeah. So when I heard your accent, I kind of went like that. And my instincts, I was watching your videos and there was a genuine sincerity and honesty about it that I followed you and you reached out to me. I responded back and we had a little kind of back and forth. And guys, and I will say this, it's not an overgeneralization, it's gospel. A guy will meet another guy and within 15 seconds, he's going to either hate his guts or they're going to be like brothers from another mother. There's like no middle ground. Like, and you and I were like in sync the second we started connecting. And so I thought, wow, okay. And then the leap to kind of make that movement because financially and time wise and having failed so many times in the past, I'm really big on not being boastful, not to be a hypocrite. If you say you're going to do something, don't say you're going to do it and tell people what you did. I don't, and I can hear my mother and my father and my like, you don't tell people what you're going to do, you do it. And then if they ask, then you bring it up.
A big one of that is like cultural is like, people are like, oh, I'm going to do Whole30 or I'm going to do keto. And they fail 3 days in. And, some of the best points or aspects to those kind of miserable ways of losing weight or getting in better shape or getting healthier is they're so miserable that people are like, wow, that like this sort of like surface level admiration. Wow, you're going to put yourself through this awful mechanism to get in better shape. They never do it. And exactly what you're saying, don't tell people what you're going to do, show people what you're doing and what you've done as well, instead of talking about it.
Do you Joey, think we should tell people what the 6 counties are? Because there's some people who may not know the geography of.
That's all right. We'll keep that. Google 6 counties, Northern Ireland. All right, you can.
Okay.
See
okay.
There,
I just don't want to. Like people go, what's 6 counties though?
Yeah. So I'm originally from Northern Ireland. For anyone, I'm Irish Northern Ireland, the northern part. Joey, we got on the phone. It felt like a good fit. Then. Which we will, keep anonymous. Don't like, because I don't share numbers. I don't share numbers before we actually, what we do is we're in the messages. Is this a good fit? Is it worth chatting about? I always say if I tell people half the price of my program, they're going to get scared. I am working with dads, or I work with dads that are low on confidence, low on hope, high on skepticism, and any out is an excuse to put off action or take an action.
Yeah.
So we got on the phone call, Joey. I remember it was a great chat. After you talked to your wife Donna about it, and then it was like, you tell me what happened initially, because it wasn't like, okay, let's go for this. What happened?
Well, I don't remember the exact time. My memory kind of thinks it was like a Thursday or a Friday, and I had gigs that weekend, and it was a lot of driving. So there was a lot of back and forth, and angel on one shoulder, devil on the other shoulder, kind of, that I should or I shouldn't or I can't. What if I spend the money and I don't do what I'm supposed to do? If I don't go in with this 100% sincerity, or am I going to fail even though I try, and just be like, 6 pints of Guinness, and in Philly we have cheesesteaks, like, 6 pints of Guinness and two cheesesteaks later, I'm out on a bender like a sailor for 6 months, and I'm just totally ignoring. I always worked out. I mean, I was lifting 4 days a week, and either walking my dog or walking with my buddies on Sundays. I always was active. It's just my food intake was just um, unmonitored would be a great way
Mm-hmm.
to begin. It was the difference between public school and Catholic school. I was like a public school guy. I could do whatever I wanted, as opposed to when we went to Catholic school, it was very strict and rigid. But it was a nice middle ground with you.
Good, good. I'm glad. So, like, we got off the call. You had gigs that weekend. The fear, I'm sure you talked to Donna. The fear was there. What if this doesn't work? What if I, invest, spend the money, hire this guy, and it doesn't work? Even though, I would have told you on the call, for dads carrying 40 pounds plus that work with me, a guaranteed minimum of at least 21 pounds, or I
Mhm.
continue to work with you for free until you hit that. So you were buying a result anyway. Like, that was going to happen. But again, you're 275. Something I said to you, Joey, was something you said to me was, Sean, I like the sound of this, but I've got to pay my daughter's tuition. And I remember saying something like, Joey, you're 57, you're
Mhm.
275 pounds. Like, when is going to be the time that you're actually going to take care of this? And I think that seemed to hit home,
Mhm.
because I know what's going to happen, Joey. You are my guy, and dads like you are my guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Low on confidence, low on hope, not in a good situation, versus dads that are on top of the world and fantastic, and the diet is awesome and everything's on point. It's not that, but I know that how I can help you is going to work. But you are, it's anything you can be scrambling for to cling on. This is not the right time. It's not the perfect time. So I think I remember saying something to you. You're 57. You're 275 pounds. Joey,
One kidney.
when
Let's
the
forget
one?
that.
Okay, well, I wasn't
Or,
going to say. I
uh,
wasn't going to say that, because
I was
that is.
born with one kidney, but being Irish, I have two livers, so it all works out.
So I wasn't going to say that, and I
No,
appreciate you.
no,
I appreciate you sharing, and I
yeah.
said that as well. I said, Joey, you're 200, you're 57, 275 pounds. You've got one kidney.
Hmm.
When the fuck is going to be the time that you're going to do
Hmm.
this? And then that seemed to, like, I remember, recollect, that was kind of something that was like, okay, fuck it. And then after that, we worked it out. You pulled the trigger, signed up, we went through the motions. I built your draft program. You checked that out. And then we got to work. What was it, like, sort of 10th of June or something around that?
June 10th, 275.
June 10th, 275. Can you tell me, Joey? Um, you've what was it? Can you tell me what it was like? This is the big moment for dads that I support at Isla Fitness. The moment when you push the button on payment. That's where you get the willies. Can you tell me, can you remember anything like that? Like, was it like a take a deep breath? It is. I've been coach. I've got a coach at the minute. I've done this. I remember the first time making a significant investment in myself. Can you recall? Maybe you don't. But that moment where you push the button to complete payment. Can you remember anything about that?
Yeah, I would equate it to my comedy too. You do prepare, you do work at comedy, great jokes, that sort of thing. But I also come from an improvisational background. If I go on stage and I think about going on stage, I'm going to mess up. If I just go and be, it's like an old Zen riddle. If you look for it, you're not going to find it. So after I hit the button, I went, I'm just going to be. Let's do this. And I didn't have any. inner critics or anything going on. I went, okay, and got in the program, stepped on the scale every morning, get up, pee, step on the scale. There's a certain, and again, maybe it's my Catholic school training, but there's a certain regimen that works really well for me in discipline. And it's not restricted by any stretch of man. And there's been times where I've had a few pints with my buddies, and the next morning I went, and I went, I that was harder than hitting the button, putting down
Yeah.
the weight went
The
up.
weight.
But
Did
I
you
have to be honest.
absolutely? And did you ever get a hard time from me about that when you had the few pints? Or what? Can you ever remember you give me a bollock?
No. I mean, and I would have taken it. But
Yeah.
that's what we do. I would have manned up or humaned up and taken the beating. I
And
always say
it's like
women are tougher than men, so I would have womaned up. So
there is a difference, right?
mhm,
If you're telling me, Sean, I want to be in a bodybuilding stage in 4 weeks and I've got to make this weight, and
mhm.
you're out in the pints, there's a difference between that and you met up with some friends that you haven't seen in a long time, or you're going. I remember you went to your I think it was your agent's or manager's house for like pasta and pasta and sausages. Like, yeah, no problem. That's not gonna cripple you.
But
Can you?
right after I signed up, not to interrupt, but right after I signed up, prior to that, as a date night, because my wife and I are now
Yeah.
empty nesters, both of our daughters are either in school or out and about in their careers. I signed my wife up for a pasta making class, a
Uh-huh.
romantic evening of making pasta and wine and food,
Mm-hmm.
and that was right after I signed up. I'm like, all
I
right, give me
remember.
that
I
man.
remember. I remember what I said. What did it? Can you remember what I said to you?
Go have fun and
Yeah.
eat pasta. Enjoy. Don't waste the money.
Yeah, enjoy it, and then we're back on it as well.
Yeah.
So again, working with me, like you tell me, can you tell me, in brief, what was your experience? What has been your experience of working your launch program, Joey, being supported by me, doing this work yourself? Because you've taken every step. I haven't done a single rep or a single step for you. Can you
Mhm.
tell me what your kind of like general experience and feeling has been like on program?
I think the biggest thing for me, honestly, is I would describe it as mindful. So, for instance, yesterday I was eating a really good protein bar that I like, right? Just it could have been anything, could have been a sandwich, or instead of just wolfing the food down, I slowed down and I enjoyed what I was eating. When we were on vacation in Cape Cod with my in-laws, I found a park that you could walk right near the house. I just got up and I went and I was mindful of what I was doing. I didn't look things down blindly, or I did not work out and just sit there and flip around and watch YouTube all day, which I'm fully capable of doing, by the way, sitting on the couch and watching YouTube all day. But I didn't. I was mindful. So the word I would use to describe our relationship is an increase of mindfulness.
Awesome. Do you mind if I ask you, how did you, have you been, this might sound like a loaded question as we're being recorded here, whatever.
Mhm.
Have you been satisfied with the level of support that you've gotten from me as your
That's
coach?
grand. It's fantastic. You're there. Well, you and I have become buddies. I think maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you're like, nah, he's an arse. But no, I genuinely consider you a friend, and I'll text you, or at the end of the day, I'll take a snapshot like, hey, you got 13,000 steps in today. Like, not to be intrusive, but just to kind of keep that
Yeah.
back and forth and let you know, hey, I'm at one point you said I don't hear from you enough. I'm like, Jesus, Sean, I don't want to stalk you. Like what is enough? I mean,
That's
I don't want to be that. I don't want to be a hemorrhoid.
and that's like, that this is what I love about this work is that it, for again, dads that are watching this far, I'm not looking to be your best friend. I didn't start this work to be, gain friends or whatever. But this is like an intimate experience. This is an intimate partnership. I'm helping, you, Joey. I'm helping other dads change their life. Work that I've done myself. And we do, like, my kind of line is, we do this deep work once rather than you going from fad diet to fad diet ever again. And I wasn't expecting this. But this has been such a joy of my work, is that I've gotten to know you. I consider you a friend, Joey. And we have a laugh while you're kicking ours, and you're having the Guinness, and you're having the pasta and sausages. Sometimes you're having the pasta and the wine or whatever. A lot of pasta here, but you know what I mean. It's
I'm
like,
married to an Italian girl, so I would trust me. I would rather just have a big bowl of mashed potatoes. But
speaking of which, what does Donna think of your changes?
she she has noticed. I told you last week I had a viewing for a passing of a friend. I put the jacket on and I looked like Tom Hanks when he shrunk down as a little boy and big. Like the clothes were huge, and so she's seeing it. She's noticing it. She kind of like looked and went, "Wow, you are dropping weight." So that's kind of go as we've been married 33 years, right? And
Yeah.
I met her when I was 19. We dated for 5 years, married for 33 years. I'm not lying to you. As we've grown together as a married couple, she's gotten better looking and I've gotten worse looking. So you're helping me balance the scales.
Okay, good, good. I'm glad to hear.
Mhm.
Um, and one of those things again, but whether it's suits, whether it's your current wardrobe, you will donate them, you will give them away, you'll be fitting into old favorites, which I love.
Oh, I got a
Joey,
pair of 32-inch back in the pair of jeans in the back of the closet. I'm like, it's coming, baby.
it's
You're gonna
coming.
see the light of day. You're gonna come.
Yeah, yeah,
They're
and then it's going to be
Jordache
so sweet.
jeans, but I think they're out of style. No, I'm just kidding.
But like, and again, this you're going to get to the point where those just slip on
I want to get to
instead
the
of,
point where somebody goes, "Is he sick?
yeah. Is yeah terminally
There's
ill?
something the
No, I
matter
know.
with him."
Oh, our Ozempic,
Ozempic.
our people are like, are you juicing? Are you fasting? Are you
Mhm.
keto? And you're like, no, no, no. I'm doing the work. I'm doing the work.
Somebody said to me, "Are you losing weight like incredulously?" I go, "Yeah, Fleet Enemas. I'm doing Fleet Enemas today. I go to Costco. I get a case of Fleet Enemas. I can eat whatever I want." It's like someone
Yeah,
accuses her. Are you losing weight?
please. And then they're like, well, oh, maybe that's the answer. Yeah, that's maybe enema is the answer. Heard a dad the other day last week tell me in a call, he has a friend drinking mushroom coffee, and the friend has supposedly lost 15 pounds from mushroom coffee. The guy's on like ashwagandha for sleep and stuff and all this. It's not, it's like, it's being, common sense, portion control, regular activity, practicing those no thank yous, drinking your water, etc., rather than the enemas, or rather than pills, or rather than restricted, like taking all that shit. You can't eat carbs anymore. No, Joey, you can't eat pizza. You can't have the wine. You can't have the beers. It's not going to stick if you can't learn how to enjoy everything in your life.
Well, Oscar Wilde, the great Irish writer, said everything in moderation except for moderation. But yes, you're right. He was joking about that. But yes, you're right. The trick is the pushaways. Like there's a point where I could eat a Sunday when we were over to my cousin and my aunt who has passed was from Germany, and she made this fantastic German potato salad, Aunt Addie's potato salad, and her granddaughter made it, and I had some. But trust me, Sean, I could have stuck my head in that bowl and you would have never seen anybody happier in the world than me eating that entire giant bowl of German potato salad. But you learn how to do it and you appreciate it.
It's exactly what you're saying. It's like, enjoy, build the discipline in
Mhm.
baby steps, you
Yeah.
know to enjoy everything, but not let it get to the point again where it is compromising your physical health, your mental health, your emotional health, your spiritual health, chronically gaining weight back into obesity. Okay, Joey, I love that. That's a big, big point. It's actually building discipline. Okay, couple more questions here, right?
Please.
Joey, are there any specific examples, how this work has improved how you're showing up as a husband, as a father? I know that your daughters are grown, or what, they're grown. Any specific examples, or just your day-to-day life where you're like, wow, this feels like really good?
Yeah, I mean, well, from the perspective of day-to-day life, I said to you a couple of days ago, after dinner, usually I'm a zombie and I'm passing out, but not since working with you. And my dog Sophie, I have to whisper this, but after dinner, she looked at me because she wanted to go out, and I go, "Hey, you want to go for a WALK?" And my wife goes, "Are you going out again? Like again?" I go, "Yeah." I said, "I'm not tired at all." And we did like 20 minutes, and it was fantastic. And like I would have never done that before, but just that energy is pretty
Yeah,
cool.
love it. And speaking of which, one thing I want to touch on and ask you quickly is this.
Please,
I could talk to you for like an hour here, right? We have
yeah.
to be, we have to be,
When you said this will last 15 minutes, I'm like, it's going to go longer
it's
than
not, two jabbers here. Aches and pains, something I noticed and felt experienced myself, even in my early 30s, Joey, was I was getting aches and pains, just from I think, being deconditioned. I wasn't
that.
exercising. I was, packing on weight. Now I have the aches and pains, after a lift day. It's that nice kind of like soreness.
Bird. Yeah.
Have you experienced anything like that? Love to hear about the energy levels. Love to hear about the clothes fitting better and fitting into old favorites. anything like, those aches and pains have kind of gone? Because that's something I regularly hear from other, dads.
Yeah, I mean, that compared to buddies of mine I have that would never ever in a million years go on any kind of programs, and you could see they're becoming old men. It just really, and I'm not bragging because I can feel my mother in heaven giving me the fisheye, but I can bang out 50 push-ups without even I mean, I'll get a little winded towards the end, but I can do it. I
Yeah.
want to keep that energy. I want to keep functionality. I don't want to. I mean, I would like to continue to look more appealing to my wife, but I would also like good quality of life. I want to have just a little bit more money than we need and health. Those are the
Yeah.
two things that I would really dig.
Living an unlimited life and doing what you want, that
Hmm.
mobility, that strength, that energy. You and Donna, coming up to retirement, just being able to travel, for example, banging out the push-ups, mate, absolutely love it. And Joey, like, I've seen you, and like seeing you on screen here, which is fantastic, like in
Hmm.
the flesh nearly, like you're looking good, like you're looking trim.
I'm getting there.
Yeah.
I'm getting there. I used to be young and good looking. Now I'm just good looking.
I love it, mate. I love it. Okay, Joey, we are going for another 12 weeks. You have
Yeah.
gone from 275 down to 249 on this phase. So goodbye. Look, like, listen to this, celebrate this. Goodbye 270s, goodbye 260s, goodbye 250s, mate. Amazing. And now our goal in the next phase is, by the end, getting you into the low 220s, possibly the 210s, given your confidence capability is growing. Can I ask you, would you recommend, other dads that were in maybe a similar boat to you, they're carrying 40 pounds plus, they know they want and need to make changes. Would you recommend working with me?
I,
Would you recommend hiring me?
Absolutely. And I'll go one step further. If any dads out there watching this have questions and they just want to ask me one on one, it's Joey Callahan comedy at Gmail. Shoot me an email. I'll give you an honest Catholic school answer. I'm not, no bullshit. And I would highlight. Yeah, absolutely. I wish I would have done it sooner, but when the student's ready, the teacher comes.
Love it, man. Love it. And something, just, you know, where you were, Joey, it wasn't looking good. You stepped up.
I wouldn't start planning my funeral mass yet, but yes, you're right.
Yeah,
I was getting there.
going towards 300, like creeping up there, mate. It's like,
Yeah.
wherever that is, it doesn't have to be 300. It can be 250, it can be 350, it can be 400. You pump the brakes, you got help. And what I love is you're doing all the work. You do all the work. I help with the guesswork, I help with the support, I help with the kick up the arse the odd time. But at the end of the day, you are climbing, Mount Callahan. And when you get to the top with Sherpa Sean by your side, you've earned every single bit of that victory. Where, Joey, you're on your way to the 190s, mate.
I told you
That
what my daughter hasn't. My daughter's not going to be home until December.
Yeah,
She moved into the Midwest, and I'd love to be 75 pounds lighter. So I'm just she doesn't know what I'm doing, and she hasn't seen me. So that's
it's gonna be something. It's gonna be something else. I would love to record. I would love to record it, and I hope it's more than a. Oh, you lost a bit of weight. Uh,
I live with all women, Sean. I can't win. I just I can't. Like I just the joke is I just wake up and apologize to the first one I see. Yeah, I don't expect any kind of confetti machine to go off, but for my own personal,
yeah,
I do.
yeah. There's your head's not going to get any bigger, Joey, in your household. All right.
Yeah, physically possible.
All right, Joey. I appreciate it, mate. Joey, before we kind of get off here, is there anything else you'd like to share? Comment about, whatever.
Well, you've been wonderful, and it's been great, and it just I think there's no such things as coincidences. And for some reason, a buddy of mine always said that I have a horseshoe up my ass, which means everything always works out for me. But I just kind of just have that tendency to kind of go through life like a hot knife through butter, and I got to kind of get stalled, and I didn't feel lucky. I didn't feel right. I didn't feel in sync, like rhythm. I was out of rhythm as the weight gained, and I was kind of sad about it. And I was internally, I wasn't belly aching out loud, but I didn't like him. And then you and I connected. And I feel like I've got a lot of my old self back, and I want to keep going. And
Love,
I do miss my beer. I do miss my beer. Like I didn't drink every night, but I like beer. I mean, it's a carbohydrate. I like and beer is a gateway drug to pizza. Like
Mhm.
like I like living, but the quality of life that you brought back to me and helped me, and you kind of I would without getting overly dramatic, I felt like a kind of a reawakening.
Love it, mate. What I will say there is, with the beer, like you've had some beer like on program,
Hmm.
and you're in a kind of like focus period of doing work, and this work is, unburdening yourself of this physical weight. And when you get down to the 190s, Joey, you will enjoy beer at a level where makes sense, doesn't compromise the weight gain, isn't a gateway drug to all the shit, because you're still eating pizza, you're still having pasta, and you can enjoy everything in moderation.
Well,
In moderation, and
yeah.
that's what feels great. You can enjoy. There is an opportunity to do this work, build these habits, and you can enjoy everything, but it's not making you sad inside, and it's not causing you feelings of depression. You don't feel awful in your own skin.
Or the
Joey,
other thing too is
yeah,
you're in the middle of something you shouldn't have eaten, so you eat it. Go, all right. I'll start my diet on Monday. I'll start my diet on Tuesday. You never start the diet, so that's the thing. Like with you, we started. Like, I'm gonna go. No, we are. That's
yeah,
as far as that mindfulness goes.
yeah. Miserable diet, no dietary changes. Yes, diets don't work. Joey, want to thank you so much, mate,
Oh,
for
thank you.
for again taking the time.
Hey,
Absolute
and
pleasure.
again, if anybody has any questions, Joey Callahan Comedy at Gmail. I won't be shy.
I appreciate it, man. I'm going to put this in the post as well
Cool.
underneath when I put this up. Um, Joey, you're an absolute champion. You know what this is meaning for you, for Donna, for your daughters, setting you up for grandfatherhood, mate. You're reclaiming the like an amazing quality life. It is a pleasure and honor to support you, and I can't wait for
It's a
more.
two-way street, mate. It's a two-way street.
I appreciate it. Okay, Joey, thanks so much, mate.
Cheers, man. Thanks.
Cheers.